Aaron from Franklin Gun Store here. Today, we're going to be talking about sling setups for your AR-15. Before we start, I'm going to show you that the weapon is clear. As you can see, the chamber is empty, mag is also empty. Close that dust cover Marine Corps style. There are two major functions of a sling. The first being retention, and the second being support. Now, retention is concerned when you need to be hands-free. Say, for instance, you're coming up with your rifle and you run dry or your weapon jams or whatnot and you need to switch to a secondary weapon. Essentially what that's going to allow you to do is be hands-free and be able to use your hands to manipulate your secondary and or to do whatever else you might need, whether that's medical purposes or if you need to mount and dismount from a Vic or whatever else that consideration may be. So now that we've gone over the fundamentals of retention for a sling, we're going to go over support. Now, what the sling is going to allow you to do is when supporting your firearm, when you're pulling into your shoulder with your grip, it's essentially going to allow you to maintain stability for follow-on shots. So what we have here is a DDM4 V5 Daniel Defense. As you can see, I'm sporting their shirt. Great brand, phenomenal brand for DI guns. They're awesome. Highly recommend them. Now when it comes to purchasing a sling, there's not one that I specifically recommend. Personally right now, as you can see on my weapon, I'm running the Blue Force Gear VTAC sling. It's a phenomenal sling. I really like it. It's got a pretty slim pad. It doesn't get in the way too much. It's very lightweight, also very durable. Now this particular sling has the option of running at a single point. I personally don't like a single point. Reason being is because when I'm running a single point, you've got one point on your body and the weapon's going to be dangling and flying all around. Now, it might be good for some law enforcement officers, but for military and civilian, not so much. And that's just my personal preference. That sling does work. A lot of people use that. Like I said, personally though, I don't care for it, and I honestly don't recommend it personally. From my experience, a 2-point sling has the best retention and the best ability for long distance shots to stabilize. Now, as far as adjustability is concerned, I particularly love this sling setup. This is what I rock on most of my weapons. Say I've just picked up my rifle and I've put on my plate carrier and I need to loosen it up so that I can get more retention. Well, I can do that. And then it's going to be able to run over the extra excess gear that I have on my person. And it's nice too, you can cinch it down. As you can see, you can loosen it up and cinch it down accordingly. What this is going to allow you to do is to make quick adjustments on the fly. Now, a lot of people today on the market, you'll see have QD mounts, quick detach, which allows for quick donning and doffing of the sling. Now, personally, when I'm donning the sling, I don't adjust it at all. It's already going to be set up for my body shape, and literally all I got to do is pick up the weapon, throw it around my head, tuck my arm in, and then I'm good to go. For me, I like to run it as far forward and as far rear as I can. So most of the time that's going to be on the stock in the forefront of the rail. Now, the purpose for that is I like to C-clamp grip, especially when I'm in close quarters. Going around doors or whatnot, that allows you to have further muzzle control and you have a lot more precision there with CQB shots. Now, I like my sling run there because what it allows me to do is, as you can see over here, can kind of tuck my arm underneath and wrap the front of the sling around my hand. Also, when setting up a sling, it's important to note that it should be almost ready to go into your shoulder pocket. I don't have to lift up or pull down, as you can see. It's going to literally ride right where I need it to, which is right below my shoulder pocket, so that all I got to do is quickly raise the weapon up. There is no such thing as a perfect sling setup. Regardless of how you set up your sling, you're going to have interference. Usually when I'm running this sling, I'm going to have lots of gear on my person. Firstly, I'm going to have to adjust it to make sure that it's looser so that it will be maintained at the proper height for my shoulder pocket. Now, what I have to factor in is that I'm going to have a plate carrier on my front. It's going to be a couple inches out. I've got mags down lower. There's all kinds of interference. So when I'm going for a mag change, I have to account for the fact that I have this webbing right here that I'm going to have to drop my mag and retrieve another one, and it's going to be in the way. Now, at the end of the day, like I said, there is no perfect setup. It's just what works best for you, and this is what works best for me. Now, for a distance shot, and I'm talking of excess of 100 yards, say you're in the prone or you're on a barricade, whatnot, It's going to be very beneficial to you as a shooter to have a 2-point sling, in that it's going to allow for further stabilization. So when I'm using my 2-point sling, as you can see, I'm going to loosen it up a little bit, and from that point, I'm going to wrap my arm around it and further brace. Think of it as a third arm, and I know that term gets thrown around. However, as a third arm, essentially, you're going to be able to wrap your arm around that sling and really get it locked in there, so it's not going to move as much. You won't have as much movement on your shots, which is going to be very important, especially at a distance. I'm going to have a lot more ability to put more shots on target downrange, which at the end of the day is going to be the goal.